Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 6 starts now.
There may be a flicker of light at the end of the tunnel for the Novi man jailed in Russia and accused of being an American spy.
It took more than a month of investigating, but Troy police think they found who was behind a hit and run that killed a delivery driver.
And board members behaving badly. A group elected to change Detroit's city charter having its work overshadowed by personal attacks. Glad you're with us for Local 4 News at 6. For the second time since April, things have gotten out of hand at one of these meetings.
You're about to see video of shouting, grabbing, and people getting out of their seats, alarmed at what's going on.
Larry Spruill has the footage from both incidents, and he's now with us. Larry, the board was elected to serve the city and help try to move it forward.
Yeah, good evening, Devin and Jason. That's the surprising part, that this committee was elected to update and review the charter of the city's charter, but there has been more fighting than working. This is the calm before the storm at the most recent Detroit Charter Revision Commission meeting just over a week ago. The video shows the board reviewing the minutes from the April meeting and concerns about behavior during voting.
The fact is 3 commissioners got up while we were voting. We let 5 commissioners in.
And during the review of that prior meeting, this happened.
Microphone through the chair, through the chair, through the chair. You better get your
You can see board member Nicole Small trying to snatch the microphone out of Commission Chair Carol Weaver's hand, not once, but twice. The second time the video shows Small grabbing the gavel and Weaver's wrist. Shortly after that, Weaver filed this police report for assault and battery. The officer stated he saw redness on Weaver's wrist. I reached out to Weaver for a comment. She sent me this statement. No time should our disagreements or ordinary conduct at meetings result in physically threatening behavior. The events of Saturday, June 22, 2019, that resulted in my physical injury are unacceptable. This is not the first time Nicole Small and Carol Weaver have disagreed. Their behavior during that April meeting was also caught on tape.
This contract was reviewed by the city.
This is tax. I don't care who reviewed it. The city breaks the law too. They have been sued. They have been sued. They have been sued.
Order.
They have been sued.
Order.
And I also did reach out to Nicole Small, and she just emailed me back, but she simply says that she cannot comment due to legal matters. We're live outside City Hall tonight. Larry Spruill, Local 4.
Really interesting to think about where this goes from here, Larry, because there are meetings coming up in the near future.
Well, Devin, we're talking about they are scheduled for 10 meetings, but as you can see how the first and then this meeting went, there's no telling how the rest will go. Devin?
We'll be watching. All right, Larry. Jason.
Well, we asked for warm weather many times, and it always seems to go like this. At some point we go, okay, we get it, here it comes.
We don't get tastes of anything.
Yeah.
We get streaks and stretches, and that is what we've got here. But yeah, it's not just the heat, obviously, as the old saying goes. It's the humidity, and it's how long it's going to be here. Right now, heat index readings are in the 90s. But you'll see in the 7-day forecast, there is not a lot of relief at night. And when you start stringing together days like that, that's when we have to be careful about staying hydrated and definitely finding some air conditioning. Dew points in the 70s here in Illinois and Indiana. That's tropical air, even though we're not far from it now. We will see that humidity increase tonight. So for the rest of tonight, humidity's on its way up, warm and humid with thunderstorms. There's no doubt that most of this forecast is going to look like that. But the tide does start to turn on Sunday. We will look at the relief in your 7-day forecast, all coming up in a few minutes. Devin?
All right, Ben. Tonight, the Russians are floating a prisoner swap with the U.S. It would include Novi resident Paul Whelan, who has been in a Russian prison since December, accused of spying, something he and his family say is ludicrous. Mara McDonald in the newsroom with the newest developments. Mara?
Tonight, the deputy Russian foreign minister is making this pitch. Let the U.S. release a Russian pilot that's sitting in a U.S. prison. In return, Whelan can go free. Paul Whelan has been sitting in Russia's Lefortovo prison since December when he was arrested and accused of being a spy. Whelan, who lives in Novi and worked in security for Borg Warner, says he was in Moscow for a friend's wedding.
I want to tell the world that I'm a victim of political kidnap and ransom. There's obviously no credibility to this situation. This is retaliation for sanctions.
Whelan says his treatment is getting increasingly worse. Now, Russia's deputy foreign minister is on record proposing a swap, giving unnamed American prisoners in return for Konstantin Yaroshenko, a Russian pilot who was convicted of drug smuggling. He's currently serving a 20-year sentence here in the U.S. Whelan has yet to be convicted in Russia, but their foreign ministry is urging a deal on a prisoner swap before Whelan goes to trial. No comment out of U.S. officials on this Russian pitch for a prisoner swap. However, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow is concerned about Whelan's health. They say that it's deteriorating and that the Russians will not allow an outside doctor to come in and take a look at him. We're in the newsroom. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Okay, Mara, for years, Macomb County has wrestled with the problem of an aging county jail. Now there's talk of a major millage campaign to build the most expensive jail the state has ever seen. Local 4's Rod Maloney first told us about this issue 2 weeks ago. Today, he went inside that jail to hear the county's pitch.
Macomb County judges are constrained because if they want to send somebody to the Macomb County Jail who might deserve it, they only have a certain number of slots that they can send somebody here. And that's a temporary system that they put in place 15 years ago or so. And that's just one of the reasons why there's a hard full-court press to try and get a new jail. To show us conditions inside the jail, Sheriff Tony Wickersham and County Executive Mark Hackle, the former sheriff, invited us into a sweltering intake cell, usually used for inmates detoxing or sobering up. The cell, with its dormitory beds and guard walkways behind the bars, has been in use since 1951.
One, we have an outdated facility. We have an infrastructure that's actually crumbling and falling apart. I mean, we've had issues. We talk about a study from 2005, and we have a study from 2015, basically saying the same thing.
This is our infrastructure issue here in Macomb County that we have to face, that we have to figure out how do we fix, and how do we do that? We're limited. There isn't the budget ability to do that. I can't just work it into the budget.
Hackle says bonding won't work either. Only a millage that would raise some $375 million is the answer, a hefty price tag.
So it's 0.98 of a mil, which would probably cost the average homeowner, probably, depending on the type of facilities, I'm told by our accounting department, probably about $98 per year.
For 20 years. Some county commissioners are concerned, though, that the price tag is double what it was just a few months ago. And while they understand there's a need, this is no slam dunk when the commission takes up the issue later this month. This is the jail annex. It's the west end of the building. The plan, should it pass, is to knock all of this down and then start building from here in the direction behind me, which would go well past the trees you see here. Once the new jail is complete, the plan also includes knocking down the old jail tower. In Mount Clemens, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
All right, Rod. Two Detroit men facing charges now in the hit-and-run death of a vending machine supplier who was trying to make a delivery in Troy. Troy police said the two men were preparing to steal from the truck belonging to J.B. Brinkley in a parking lot on Kurtz Road back on May 24th. Investigators said the truck struck and killed the 48-year-old Brinkley, 41-year-old Anthony Griffin, and 37-year-old Jerry Burton, both facing murder charges. Surveillance video and other evidence led to the arrest, both men being held right now without bond.
Police in Dearborn Heights are looking for a unique shoplifter. Police say these are images of the woman who went into the Family Dollar store on Van Born Road Saturday afternoon and placed 2 packages of detergent pods worth $80 into her purse and headed for the door. When the alarm sounded, the manager asked what was in there, and she said, "I have a gun in my purse. Want to come outside and see?" She got away. If you can identify her, call the Dearborn Heights Police Department. Lester Holt and his team finishing up tonight's edition of Nightly News, coming up in about 20 minutes.
Yep, let's get a sneak preview here of what we've got. Lester's in New York City tonight and joins us live. Hey, Lester.
Good to see both of you. Coming up, a warning if you are going to the beach this summer. The grandmother who caught a deadly flesh-eating bacteria in the water. We'll look at how to protect yourself and what to do if you think you've been exposed. Plus, the alert you need to hear before your family flies this July 4th holiday, how cyber thieves can target you at the airport.
Yet another way to get ripped off, Lester, and you're going to talk about how to keep from getting scammed.
You just can't let your guard down these days. This is due to your cell phone, where you're logging onto sometimes Wi-Fi that may not be familiar. Also, where you happen to charge your phone. These are issues you need to be very careful about. We're going to tell you what hackers are up to and what you should be up to when we see you tonight.
Good deal. About 20 minutes from now, Lester, thanks. We'll see you then. All right, ahead, the accessory that could really save your skin this summer when you go outside.
Plus, here's Priya.
How did a church in Saline end up with a water and sewer bill 17 grand more than normal? And will they have to pay it? City Council weighs in.
The Detroit serial killer investigation. Where does the investigation stand right now? We're connecting the dots for you and showing you where this investigation is now going. The latest tonight at 11.